What is the microeconomics that Chairman Powell faces today? I mean, it is about supply, but the demand economy is deficient, isn't it?
And so obviously this is one of the big challenges with people scared to go out to work, scared to go out to shop, or they have formal restrictions preventing them from going to the office or going to work. No matter how low interest rates go, no matter how many assets the Fed buys, you're not going to get demand up. You've really got to solve the health and confidence problem.
Randy, how do you solve that?
Well, we're making progress. I mean, it's truly amazing that we have in 10 months gotten something that would normally take a decade, a vaccine. And so I think we're making really good progress. It's not immediate. Obviously, the cases are going up both in Europe and in the US, but there's really light at the end of the tunnel. And this is one of the needles that the Fed has to thread, because they're really big short-term challenges, but they see that hopefully these will be overcome when we get 6 months, 9 months from now.
Randy, what happens with inflation? So, 80% of the people that come on say there's no risk that inflation goes up. What if there's something structural? What if demographics, as soon as there's a vaccine administered to as many people as we can to achieve herd immunity, goes back to the path that we were in 2019?
So I think the Fed can only hope that they'll actually finally achieve their 2% inflation goal, because they've been undershooting it since they announced it in 2012. And with the average inflation targeting approach that they have recently adopted, they're going to be willing to allow the economy, or at least the inflation rate, to run above 2% for a little bit. So I think that will help to offset the kind of decade of being below 2%. Is that likely? It's certainly a possibility, and I think with a vaccine, it's a greater possibility than without a vaccine. Do I see it getting out of control? I think highly unlikely, at least in the next year or two.
Professor Kroszner, there is a belief construct set up now about a path forward. Maybe it's based on theory, maybe it's seat of the pants for all of our central banks worldwide. What is the unknown out there? We look at a weak dollar. We showed the chart earlier. To get an ever weaker dollar clearly is destabilizing. I don't mean the drama of Louvre and Plaza Accord, but a weaker dollar surprise. And also as well, the certitude that yield won't go lower in England and in America. Are we underestimating these risks?
So one of the things that the Fed really focuses on is anything being disorderly. If the dollar sort of begins to decline a bit, they're perfectly comfortable with that. If the dollar starts to move very rapidly in a way that they don't really fully understand or feel that they can offset, that's the thing that concerns them. A bit of a weaker dollar is actually broadly a benefit to the U.S. in the short run in terms of being able to export more easily, and so that's going to help the recovery in the short run. But of course, no one wants a dollar collapse or disorderly change in the value of the dollar over the longer run. And I don't think that's in the cards. There's really no challenge to the U.S. dollar as the international reserve currency, at least for quite some time.
Okay, well, I understand that, but the challenge is the threat to export markets of other nations. They will respond at some point. Are we underestimating or miscalculating the when of their response?
Well, that's a very complicated political economy kind of.
You're in London now. If you were in Chicago, I wouldn't have asked that question. But now that you're in London, I can ask a pointy, question, a bow tie question like that.
No, and it's an important one. So I think right now, obviously, the Europe and the UK are quite cognizant of the strengthening of their currencies and the weakening of the dollar. I think they are likely to. Well, I think Europe is likely to do more easing. The UK may or may not. We'll have to see how things evolve. They've talked about the potential to go negative because they're effectively at zero. Unlike the US, which Powell has made it pretty clear that he really doesn't want to go there. Andrew Bailey has said he might go there. Europeans, of course, are already there. So I think there's more easing in the cards here in Europe, maybe not quite as much in the US. But I think today we're going to hear a little bit more from the Fed about how the asset purchases are going to evolve over time.